We hear that informal cross-border trade should be best called small-scale cross-border trade. It should be confused with illegal trade. But let me put myself back in my Londonian shoes. If I cross the border with goods that I don't declare, that's illegal. That is illegal. So what makes the difference here? Why can we be so confident in saying it's not illegal in this case?
Okay, I think two reasons. Firstly, typically what goes across the border, what you consider to be essential goods, things like foodstuff, grains, semi-processed foods such as dried fish, for example, that sort of thing. It's not typically things like alcohol or cigarettes, what we regard as contraband. That's not typically what's in informal cross-border trade. Yes, we're also beginning to see, and I've seen myself, some manufacturers which would normally attract duty. But then again, don't forget, we're talking about relatively small consignments. And we are talking about people on the margins. So customs officials sort of understand intuitively that, we are not here dealing with people just simply trying to evade the processes, that these are relatively small consignments. Reflecting what people, the kind of purchasing power that the market that is destined for has, and also reflecting what the supplier can afford to put on that market. So really, it is, a market solution to the problem of poverty. That is what it is. So it's not really typically your contraband and so on. And of course, customs officials can clamp down on that kind of thing. But, that's not really what we are talking about here.
What we hear from David here is that this phenomenon is about statistics, it's about anthropology, it's about sociology, it's about trade. Sometimes it's about trade, it's about women empowerment, it's about health, education, access to finance.
Absolutely, it's all rolled into one. It's tough to sort of approach this from our traditional disciplines, but I think to really get a better understanding and a good grip, we have to be more interdisciplinary and take risks in going out of our comfort zones to understand what is going on and how best to support it.
And a lot of these challenges that we're discussing, access to finance, education, information networks, the entire list, we know that a lot of these challenges are even more acutely faced by female informal cross-border traders, and informal cross-border trade is a very gendered issue. So I wonder, do you think there's a need for more female policymakers at the highest level across the continent to really push this agenda forward? We see in Rwanda has, high quotas for female policymakers and is also advancing significantly in the area of informal cross-border trade.
Absolutely. And again, this underscores the point that Thierry has just made, when you try to put everything together. And, it's no surprise that we have referenced Rwanda in this conversation. And the point you've just made, I think, underscores this aspect that, you need a gender lens to have come up with policies and measures that address the issues on the ground.
Mr. Tassara, Mr. Luke, both of you have pioneered discussion, innovation in the area of small-scale cross-border trade in Africa. So now, let me ask you a prospective question. Could both of you depict to us what small-scale cross-border trade will look like in 20 years? What it will be?
I'll let Tassara go first.
I would have done the same.
Thank you, David. Let me go first. And I'm very optimistic about what it will be. cross-border trade, in some cases, can be looked at as a last resort activity by people who probably may not have opportunities within the formal sector. So, as a way of eking out a living, they then go into informal cross-border trade. They get involved in these activities. So, what we have seen is that. At the regional level, be it SADC, be it EAC, be it COMESA, they've come up with industrialization policies, which we think that if they follow through those industrialization policies, they create value chains, they create more opportunities within the formal sector. My perspective is that going forward, the small-scale cross-border trade will possibly decline as opportunities are created within the formal sector as countries grow. As David has alluded earlier on, when countries are now registering good growth and there are more opportunities, the phenomenon of informal cross-border trade will naturally decline. And there are also studies, even from the International Monetary Fund, that shows that the level of informality declines as the countries themselves grow. So I envisage that with good policies by most of the African governments and a focus on industrialization, the small-scale trade should decline in the future. And that little which will still be remaining, we expect it to be more facilitated. We expect this digitalization that is coming to have set foot and to make it easier for the traders to lodge their documents, to make payments using digital means. So that's the way I see small-scale cross-border trade going forward.
I think I will share that optimism of Tassara's. I think this is what we're seeing.